High schoolers make their way to school and go to class. The bell rings, and the teacher begins the class. Suddenly, a bright light flashes and a girl hits her head in a dark room. She looks around, wondering where she is. Here, we can see Komoko surrounded by hatching spiders, and she gets creeped out by her own body. Even though she doesn't want to accept it, she knows has been reincarnated and is annoyed that she is now a spider. Letting her reality set in, Komoko gets hungry and freaks out when she sees the other spiders cannibalizing. As she walks away, she runs into a giant spider feasting on spider skewers, making Komoko sprint away. Soon, she reaches a quiet space and recalls her last memories in class. As she thinks of multiple theories, Komoko gives up and wishes she had an appraisal skill, causing her to hear a voice asking if she would like to acquire the appraisal skill using her points. After acquiring it, Komoko gets excited and uses it hoping to get more information, but it is useless. She sits down and appraises herself. Komoko searches for food and encounters some monsters, but is too weak to fight. As she sadly trudges, she spots human footsteps and follows it, but finds a dead spider body ahead. She quakes in her boots and ejaculates, making a fortress out of webs. Komoko lays comfortably and looks back on her life as a human. Suddenly, her eyesight blurs, and Komoko falls to the ground, unable to move as she hasn't eaten since she was born. She desperately munches on the dead spider as she doesn't want to give up. These are her current skills. Komoko lies in her web when she gains the title of Kin Eater and the skills Taboo and Heretic Magic. Confused, she looks at her skills and wonders how to use them. She tries to do an incantation, but it does nothing, so she thinks about her title instead. She wants the dancer title and starts dancing.
I'm dancing, 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 dancing.
Anyways, she stumbles upon her web, which has been dragged across the cave, and Komoko follows it. There, she sees a frog stuck in the web and wants to eat it, but the frog spits in her face, causing her eyes to burn. As the frog continues to shoot poison, Komoko pants heavily but gains poison resistance. With newfound determination, she runs toward the frog and gets covered in poison, raising her poison resistance to level 2. Komoko dodges all of its attacks and soon, she jumps it from behind and takes a bite, killing the frog. She notices that her fangs may be poisonous and starts jumping around to celebrate her first kill. The scene cuts to a mansion where we see a man giving a speech. Afterwards, Shun and Katia have a conversation and hear people gossiping about them. They take a seat and Oka goes up to them, reminding them that she is still their teacher. Oka is excited that she can now experience being a student, and Sue walks up to her, pouting. Shun introduces her as his sister, but Sue gets jealous, asking Katia if Shun likes girls like Oka. It's giving. Oka points out that Shun and his sister get along very well and questions if he has done anything weird. Later, Oka brings them to meet Hugo and Yuri, and they address Oka as their teacher. Oka tells them the social status of one another, but Hugo interrupts, wanting to know who they actually are. They introduce themselves with their past names, and Hugo laughs at Katia as Katia was actually a guy before moving to this world. Suddenly, Faye starts talking and Hugo makes fun of her for transforming into a dragon and not a human. He infers that there might be students reincarnated as monsters other than Faye, but Oka tells him that none of the students under her are monsters. Dismissing the serious stuff, they go to get food, and the scene transitions to Komoko eating the frog and raising her acid resistance to level 2. Go, girl. Period. The scene flashes back to high school where Komoko's classmates are having conversations. A student goes to her and pours water on the book Komoko is reading, humiliating her. Still, Komoko doesn't react. At the mansion, Shun yawns and Hugo walks up to him. Hugo teases him by calling Shun a prince, but Shun is only the 4th prince while Hugo is in line to the throne. Shun's brother is a hero and Hugo wants to meet him, causing Shun to dick ride his brother. Come on, zip it up, buddy. He further mentions how he wishes to be exactly like his beloved brother. Okay, hop off bro. Hugo, being done with listening to Shun, walks away. Faye sighs, wondering if her being reincarnated as a dragon is a punishment from God. She is jealous that Shun and Hugo got to be princes and wonders whether this is punishment for constantly bullying Komoko in the past. Soon, Oka walks in and Faye asks her about the rest of the reincarnated people. As Faye asks Oka about Komoko's whereabouts, Oka tells her that Komoko hasn't been found but she could show up at any time. Shun tells Faye not to worry as Komoko is probably doing fine. Meanwhile, Komoko is facing off against a frog. She easily kills it and drags it back to her home. Just then, her Poison Fang skill levels up to 2, and suddenly, Her body starts cracking and Komoko has a new body as she has become a level 2 species. Because of this, her other skills level up by 1. She twerks in happiness after leveling up and realizes that her eye has healed. As she sits in her nest, Komoko's excitement rises when the thread starts shaking. Investigating it, she sees a human trapped in the web. He throws a Molotov cocktail, causing the surrounding area to burn and allowing the guy to run away. Komoko realizes that her nest is not very strong and does some renovations. Soon, her home has a sink, a living room, and a comfy bed. She has installed newly designed threads to alert her of nearby monsters. As she rolls on her bed, her stomach rumbles and she goes to her giant egg. Getting hungry, she tries to crack it open but hurts her hand instead. Even after using a contraption, the egg does not break and Komoko starts to get even more curious. She uses appraisal on it, but it is still useless. However, the skill reaches level 2 and Komoko uses it on herself. Learning that she is a small lesser pterodactyl, she uses it on the egg and finds out that it is an earth dragon egg. After going back, she plays with her new toy when her threads start shaking. Soon, her nest lights on fire and Komoko looks back to see humans with torches. Seeing that she is fucked, she uses the tunnel network and rushes towards her last web wall. As the flame burns it down, Komoko reaches a dark area and breaks down crying. Whining about being a pathetic weakling, a flashback is shown. In her past life, Komoko did not fit in. Now her house, the only place where she belonged, has been burnt down. Getting pissed, she gains new motivation to be stronger. Over the next few days, she spends her time fighting monsters. As she lies under her tent, she whines about being weak and her appraisal skill calls her weak. Looking back at all the monsters she has faced, she determines that her only strengths are her webs and poison fangs. Going out again, she traps a monster and hears a sound. Komoko goes to investigate it and is hit with a barrage of appraisal names. The monsters chase after her, and her stamina drains quickly. Soon, Komoko manages to get away and questions her own abilities. She rethinks her hunting strategy and figures that she could also ambush her prey instead of waiting for them to get trapped. After falling asleep, Komoko wakes up and immediately senses danger. Using appraisal, a giant snake appears and Komoko is fucked. Still, she faces it straight on by continuously making webs for the snake to run into. Finally, the snake's mouth is stuck from the web, but it uses its tail to smash Komoko into the wall. As the snake goes for a final blow, Komoko takes a bite of the snake and it whips her around. Even as she is losing health, Komoko continues to latch on. Soon, the snake dies and Komoko breathes a sigh of relief. Yelling in happiness, she reaches level 10 and all her skills level up even more. The system provides her with multiple evolutions paths and Komoko becomes nervous about making a big decision. After choosing to evolve to a small pterodactyl, Komoko loses consciousness. The scene cuts to Shun showing Faye her evolution options. He tells her about an earth dragon that appeared and caused many fatalities. Komoko wakes up, wondering when she fell asleep. Checking to see if she has evolved, Komoko uses appraisal and realizes that she is now a level 1 small pterodactyl with shit stats. She devours the snake to ease her hunger, but even after eating half of the snake, her stamina hasn't fully recovered. She finally finishes the whole snake and continues looking for prey. She is given a choice between 2 skills and considers Choseong thread control as she pictures herself web-slinging like Spider-Man. Unable to make a decision, she acquires both skills. Using detection, her ears are overloaded with sounds. Next, she tests her thread control and notices that they are much faster. She proceeds to kill more monsters and levels up to 2. With this, her appraisal skill reaches a new level, and when Komoko uses it on herself, she can see all her stats. Gleefully, she looks for more food when she senses something scary. Humans stand behind her and Komoko runs the fuck away. As she is running, the humans keep up with her and she encounters monsters in front. She smoothly zooms past the monsters and continues fleeing but accidentally falls down a cliff. The scene cuts to Shun talking to Sue. Just normal siblings. No, I swear that. Hugo takes a seat and Yuri walks in, telling the students to pick up a sword and head to the woods. Hugo proudly walks past Shun and Katia drags Shun along. Sue is pissed that Yuri touched Shun. Anyways, at the woods, Hugo makes fun of Shun's sword and Sue tries to defend Shun. As they keep using their past names, Katia reminds that their names have changed and people are watching. The instructor tells them to take a magic wand and instructs them to focus their magic power into it. They each take turns shooting magic at the target, and Shun hits it perfectly. Faye wants to use earth magic, and whilst they are talking, Sue keeps giving the side eye. What? I'm not gonna play it. They wonder where Oka went as she rarely attends classes. As Shun mentions that he has affinity for light and water magic, Hugo doesn't want to use water magic and shoots fire instead. The instructor lectures Hugo about being a show-off, adding that this is not a battlefield. Suddenly, a sound is heard and wind rushes towards the students. The instructor uses magic to defend against it, but is pushed back and his body disintegrates. The ground splits and an earth dragon rises from beneath. Hugo sees this as a perfect chance to show off and shots flames at it, but it does nothing. Hugo is thrown to the ground and Shun is stunlocked. He thinks of his brother and gains courage. Together with Sue and Yuri, he shoots water while Katia throws flames at it. As Shun fights the dragon, Hugo appears, shooting flames frantically. Suddenly, Faye bites the dragon and Shun deals the final blow to the dragon. While the students clap, Shun thanks Faye and Hugo stomps off unhappily. Faye tells Shun to appraise her, and he sees that she has the Kin Eater title, suggesting that the dragon was Faye's parent. Meanwhile, Komoko drops from the cliff and manages to stop herself using her webs. Insect monsters fly towards her, so Komoko lands and goes to hide. She sees 3 more snakes, and while they are distracted, Komoko makes a run for it but runs into an earth dragon. As Komoko pisses her pants, the earth dragon kills all the monsters and Komoko is its next target.